Image of an extended object. An extended object AB is placed in front of a plane mirror M dash. In order to locate the image of arrow AB in the mirror, we will first find out the positions of the images of the top point A and the bottom point B. From the point A, we draw an incident ray AC perpendicular to the mirror. This will be reflected back along the same path. So CA is the first reflected ray here. Now we'll draw another incident ray AD, which strikes the mirror at the point D. The ray AD is reflected along DE with an angle of reflection R1, which is similar to the angle of incidence I1. Thus DE is the second reflected ray here. When we produce the two or extend these two reflected rays CA and DE backwards by dotted lines, they meet at one point known as A dash. So A dash is a virtual image of the top point A of the object. Likewise, from the point B, we draw an incident ray BF, which is perpendicular to the mirror. This will be reflected back along the same path, giving the reflected ray FB. Another incident ray BG is reflected along GH, making an angle of reflection R2, which is equal to the angle of incidence I2. When we produce the two reflected ray or extend these two ray backwards by dotted lines, they meet at the point B dash. So B dash is a virtual image of the bottom point B of the object. In this way, we have located the images of the top point A and bottom point B of the object. Now each point of the object between A and B will give a point image which will lie between the point A dash and B dash here. So to get the complete image of the object A, B, we join the points A dash and B dash by the dotted line like this. Thus A dash B dash is the complete image of the object AB, which has been formed by the plane mirror. The image is virtual, erect, and the same size of the object. The nature of image formed by the plane mirror is virtual and erect, and it will be having the same size of the image formed. The size of the image formed is also equal. The image formed in the plane mirror is at the same distance also. It will be at the same distance also. The distance between the object and mirror will be the same. The distance between the object and the mirror will be the same between the mirror and the image formed. Now we have to refer one more thing, that is lateral inversion. Lateral inversion. If we stand in front of a big plane mirror, we see the image of our body in it. Though our body appears to be just as we are, but there is a difference. This is because if we lift our right hand, the image lifts its left hand. And if we lift our left hand, then the image appears to lift its right hand. This means that the right side of our body becomes left side in the image, whereas the left side of our body becomes right side in the image. It appears as if our image has been reversed sideways. with respect to our body. The effect of reversing the sides of an object and its image is called lateral inversion. The effect of reversing the sides of an object and its image is called lateral inversion. When an object is placed in front of a plane mirror, then the right side of the object appears to become the left side of the image, and the left side of the object appears to become the right side of the image. This change of sides of the object and the mirror image is called lateral inversion. The word ambulance on the hospital vans is written in the form of the mirror image like this. This is because when we are driving our car and we see the hospital van coming from behind in our rear view mirror, then we will get the laterally inverted image of ambulance. Since an ambulance carries seriously ill persons or patients, we can make way for it to pass through and reach the hospital quickly. We are now in a position to give all the characteristics of the image formed by the plane mirror like this. The image formed by the plane mirror is virtual. The image formed by a plane mirror is an erect one. The image formed by the plane mirror will be having the same size. The image formed will be at the same distance behind the mirror. The image formed is laterally inverted or sideways reverse. Now, the uses of plane mirrors. The first thing to see ourselves. The mirrors in our dressing table and bathrooms are plane mirrors. The plane mirrors are fixed on the inside walls of certain shops like jewelry and cafeteria to make them look bigger, make the shop look bigger. Plane mirrors are fitted at the blind turns of some busy roads so that drivers can see the vehicles coming from the other side and prevent accidents. Plane mirrors are used in making periscope. Now let us discuss a problem. If a person observes that an incident ray makes an angle 35 degree with the surface of a plane mirror, what is the angle of reflection? Once again, if a person observes that an incident ray makes an angle 35 degree with the surface of a plane mirror, what is the angle of reflection? What is the angle between the surface of the mirror and incident ray is 35 degree. And what we know by learning the law of reflection, incident ray is equal to reflected ray. A normal has been made at 90 degree from the surface of the mirror, that you know. So what is this one? The surface of the mirror, the angle between the surface of the mirror and the incident ray, that is 35 degree. So what will be the remaining? 90 degree minus 35 degree, that will be equal to the incident angle of incidence. So that will be 90 minus 35 is equal to what? 55 degree. So angle I or incident angle is 55 degree. So you know angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. So if this is 55 degree, and what will be this one? So R will be, angle R will be equal to angle I. That is, if the angle of incidence is 55 degree, so the angle of reflection will be 55 degree itself. That's a simple problem. And another one, if a person is observing his image in a plane mirror, the distance between the mirror and the image is 4 meters. If he moves 1 meter towards the mirror, then the distance between the person and his image will be. So we have to draw a diagram for this one. We have to make a grounded one. This is the mirror, M dash, like we have named earlier also. The person is observing his image in a plane mirror. The distance between the mirror and the image is 4 meters. Mirror and the image is 4 meters. This is 4 meters. So based on that law, what will be the distance between the object and the mirror? That will also be 4. This is also 4 meters. So the total distance between the object and image will be 8 meters. So if that person moves 1 meter towards the mirror, so the distance between this one is 3 meters. So the image will also be formed 1 meter near the mirror. So this will also be 3 meters. So what is the distance between the person and image? This is the person and this is the image. This is 3 meters and this is 3 meters. So we have to write distance between the person and mirror is equal to 3 meters. Now, distance between mirror and image, that will be equal to 3 meters. So, distance between person and his image is equal to 3 meters plus 3 meters, that is equal to 6 meters. This is the answer. So that's a simple one. Now let us discuss about the reflection of light from curved surfaces, or we can say spherical mirrors. Reflection of light from curved surfaces, or we can say spherical mirrors. When a parallel beam of light rays falls on a plane mirror, it is reflected as a parallel beam that we have referred earlier. So a plane mirror changes only the direction of incident light and reflected light. The plane mirror changes only the direction of the incident light rays. It does not converge or diverge. You know conversion and diversion? The parallel rays of light is not coming closer, or we can say it's not converging, and light rays are not spreading out, or we can say it is not diverging. We will now describe the spherical mirrors which can converge or diverge the parallel rays, or we can say the beam of light which will fall on them. Now we will refer the curved surface, or we can say curved like surface, or we can say curved mirrors. A spherical mirror is that mirror whose reflecting side is a part of a hollow glass sphere. The spherical mirrors are of two types. One is concave or another is convex. So, or we can say concave mirror and convex mirror. Spherical mirror is that mirror whose reflecting surface is a part of a hollow sphere of glass or glass sphere. A concave mirror is that spherical mirror in which the reflection of light takes place at the concave surface or bend in surface, like this one. A convex mirror is that spherical mirror in which the reflection is taking place at the convex surface or bulging out surface, like this one, the outward side. Before referring the properties, we have to check some terms. They are center of curvature, radius of curvature, pole, principal axis, and we can say another one is aperture. The first thing is the center of curvature. The center of curvature is nothing, The center of curvature of a spherical mirror is the center of hollow sphere of glass of which the mirror is a part. When we extend the curve to form a circle or a sphere, we can say now, the center of curvature is nothing but the center of the hollow sphere of glass of which the mirror is a part. The part of the sphere is taken as a glass, that's curved glass or a curved mirror. The center of curvature is the center of the sphere of which it has been made of. Which has been made of? The mirror has been made of. The radius of curvature is radius of the hollow sphere. The distance between these two, the C and this one, mirror, the point on a mirror. This is known as radius of curvature, or we can say the radius of the hollow sphere. The radius of the hollow sphere is referred as the radius of curvature. The center of the spherical mirror is called its pole. The center of the spherical mirror is called its pole. It is denoted as P here. The middle point of the spherical mirror is called the pole, or center of the spherical mirror, or we can say the midpoint of the spherical mirror is called the pole. Now, the straight line which passing through the center of curvature and the pole of the spherical mirror is called the principal axis. So what is the principal axis? Principal axis is a straight line passing through the center of curvature, and the pole is known as the principal axis here. Now, what is an aperture? Aperture is that portion of the mirror. Aperture is the portion of the mirror. Aperture is that portion of the mirror from which the reflection of light actually takes place. Means the space of the, or we can say the area of the mirror. That is the portion of the mirror from which the reflection of light actually takes place. Is called the aperture of the mirror. It's a spherical mirror is represented by the diameter of its reflecting surface. Now, principal focus and focal length of a concave mirror first. Concave mirror. The principal focus and the focal length of a concave mirror. The principal focus of the concave mirror is the point on its principal axis to which all the light rays which are parallel and close to the axis converge after reflection from the concave mirror. These are the parallel rays of lights, or when we pose a beam of light, it will be parallel to each other, and these parallel rays hit on this curved surface, and it will converge at one point in the principal axis. This converging rays will meet at one point. It is known as the focus or principal focus of the concave mirror. Focus of a concave mirror is in front of the mirror, as shown in this figure, and the focal length of the concave mirror is the distance between its pole and principal focus. The focus of concave mirror is in front of the mirror, so it is a real one. It is in front of the mirror. By that property, we are converging the sunbeam to a paper, and we can burn that paper also. It is a real one, and we can focus at one point. So it can start burning at the point of sun's image, and a hole will be formed after. This is because the concave mirror converges the lot of sun's rays to a small point on the paper. So focus of the concave mirror is in front of the mirror, as shown here. Focal length of the concave mirror is the distance between the pole, this point, and the principal focus. That is known as the focal length. Focal length. Now when we consider the principal focus and focal length of a convex mirror, when a beam of light appears to diverge after being reflected from the convex mirror, like this, each ray of light is reflected by the convex mirror, and reflected rays diverges or spread out from the mirror surface. When we produce all the reflected rays backward as shown in this figure, backwards with these dotted lines, so that they appear to meet at one point F behind this mirror. Now a person who is looking into the mirror from the side, all the reflected ray appears to be coming from the point F behind the convex mirror. This point F is the principal focus of the convex mirror. A convex mirror has virtual focus, and another point to be noted is that focus of a convex mirror is situated behind the mirror. Focus of the convex mirror will be situated behind the mirror, and the focal length will be the distance between the pole and principal focus of the mirror. Now, what will be the relation between radius of curvature and the focal length of the spherical mirror? For a spherical mirror having small aperture, the principal focus lies exactly midway between the pole and the distance between pole and center of curvature. So the focal length of the spherical mirror, like concave mirror or a convex mirror, is equal to half of its radius of curvature. So we can denote that thing like this: focal length is equal to half of the radius of curvature. So we can say F is equal to R is the radius of curvature by 2. So this is the focal length of a curved mirror, or a concave mirror, or a convex mirror. If we take the radius of curvature R is equal to 20 centimeter, what will be the focal length? That is equal to R by 2, that is equal to 20 by 2, that is equal to 10 centimeters. This is the focal length of a curved mirror which is having 20 centimeter of radius.